Hey everybody, it's Rajesh here.
Intane here.
Welcome to our podcast, Baskets of Knowledge, Chats with a Difference. In our podcast, we invite guests from around the country and around the world to talk about how they got to where they're at the moment. It's about a journey, it's about an experience, it's about their life. Kia ora koutou, welcome to another episode of Baskets of Knowledge. We have had a bit of a break over the last few weeks as life has gotten busy, but hey, we're back again and we're excited to be on. As always, we like to share what we put into our baskets. Tane can't join us this week, he's a bit busy. My share from this week was the power of education. And I wrote about this on my LinkedIn post the other day, but it was the power of education in terms of it is not about the degree, it is not about the job or the career, but it's about when you get educated or when you enable education, the ripple effect generationally is limitless. And it goes back for me to think about in my life who was the first person to think about studying, who was the person that could read and could write, and how the impact of that person has changed the trajectory of my life. So when you think about education, for everyone listening out there, don't think about the job, don't think about the degree, think about whose life and whose generation and whose legacy are you changing by making a point of difference today. But hey, it's not about me. It's about our guests. And as you know, we scour the country, we scour the world to find people that we think we're interesting. We know everyone is interesting and exciting. But today it is my real privilege, my real honor, and a real joy to invite onto the Baskets of Knowledge, Manoj. Kia ora, Manoj, and welcome to Baskets of Knowledge.
Yeah, Aura, thank you very much for having me on your show.
No worries,
It's a
Manoj.
real pleasure to see you and meet you,
Yeah,
Afro.
fantastic. Manoj, for people who know nothing about you, who is Manoj today on the 24th of July, 2026?
Who is Manoj? Interesting question. Manoj is a qualified mental health support worker, community committed person who cares for people, and who is walking onto this part of mental health and progressively working to be a counselor and contributing and making a genuine attempt to bring smiles on people's faces. That's in very brief, but I'm from Gujarat. I'm from India, born in India. And my father was a farmer. My mother was a housewife. My father couldn't read and write much of English, and we would always emphasize on us that education is very important. And that's where the first seed was in our head. So my brother is a computer engineer. My sister, she did her MSc and she was working in some lab and all that. So I became a chartered accountant, not much out of passion. But if you many would understand that in back in the Indian culture, you live to honor the wishes of your parents. You basically live their life. So I did it much not out of passion, but out of because a good boy is a boy. A good boy is a person who becomes a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer, and that's how you bring that. So I did that. Worked a couple of years in India as a chartered accountant in Setco Forex offshore a land oil drilling company, which was on commission with ONGC, and got in the first opportunity I got to travel abroad. I went there because as a student, I was a teacher. When I was studying from a chartered accountancy, I used to teach in the school, and I really loved the profession. I wanted to be a teacher, so I told my mom, I want to be a teacher. He said, "Are you crazy? How can you be a teacher? Look at your relatives; they are so educated, and you cannot be a teacher." And I said, "Okay." So the first opportunity I got, I moved on to Saudi Arabia, did my 9.5 years again with Arabian Drilling Company. We were drilling on Khabji and a lot of years, around 16 oil wells. worked with a lot of international staff. My manager was a British guy, and we had a lot of French people there, a lot of Pakistani, Sri Lankan, Bangladeshi, Filipinos. So I had a very mixed 9.5 years, struggling. Basically, I can't say I was ever comfortable, because I was basically struggling to adjust in their society, and see what they want and give it to them, not really living my life my way. So yeah, it has been quite a struggle, all my 9.5 years. Moved to Dubai, worked in old souks for the One International. It was an IKEA breakup company. From the board of directors of IKEA, there was a little split in them. So they came and they split it. That the One International really didn't come up as big as IKEA, but they had these joints. And then they sent me to Kuwait. So I worked in Kuwait, in the same thing. After working for 2 years in Kuwait, I got an opportunity to work in Africa. What a wonderful time I had in Africa. I worked in Dar es Salaam for Quality Group's huge, big company. Worked there as a controller, financial controller. In there, lots of experiences, lots of learning from dealing with people. And from Africa, I got a job to work in Nairobi in a oil company. And while I was working in Nairobi, I had applied for New Zealand immigration. And then I got a little email from the New Zealand immigration officer. Hey, you've been selected and your PR is there. In those good old days, you come to this country with your PR. You don't have to come here and work for 2 hours. The conditions were that you could land here, show the immigration officer that you got a job. Um, there was some minimum of that, but it wasn't very big. And as soon as you do that, ping, ping, they stamp it on your passport. So after working here again for 7 years, I got an opportunity to work in USA as on H1B as a financial analyst for a huge, multi-million dollar hospitality company. And I enjoyed my time working over there. So the beauty of life was to see the different cultures, to see how things make, and every place I went, you could see, that place teaches you something, like in America. If you go, it's money, 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 money. Everything is money. You're rated by money. Wealth is everything. No matter, you might be having three fuel stations, but still you'll be working for the fourth one. My some of my friends, who had four fuel stations, each one of maybe $8 million. But he would get up at 2 o'clock and watch into the cameras, to see whether his people in his fuel stations are they working. Is the receptionist there or there? Is the cash counter there or not? What's the camera outside saying, doing? Is the food unit there or not? So the mindset of people is so amazing in different places. And I'm so fortunate to learn a little and see that. And I have my own concept, my own concept of happiness. And I believe that it gives me a lot of relief. And it's so wonderful to share that concept with other people. And it's so nice. So from numbers all my life, balance sheet, asset, liabilities, the accounting ratios, came a point where I have to think about the human balance sheet, the human assets of of goodness, compassion, empathy, and the human liabilities of negativity, thinking low of yourself, always thinking about being judged by people, trying to not be yourself. So that was the human liability, which I saw that, and it was so beautiful, so beautiful. And so now I probably I wanted to start this way. I'm sorry. This is my first line I wanted to start with, but I wanted to start by saying that probably I might be the only Auckland guy of 69 years old who, after 2 years of retirement, thinks that it is better to leave the retirement and go back to the college and study. And at the age of 69, I went down to MIT and I studied there with kids, you know, who would probably be my grandchild, children sort of an age. And I had a wonderful time, amazing learning, amazing teacher, amazing facility where I learned about the importance of mental health, the importance of how important human beings are, the importance of how your genuine empathy and your compassion to bring in a change into people and your desire to see the other person well overrides a million times the technique, the medicine, the therapy, the processes, all that. They are tools to help you, but none of them would work if you do not have a genuine empathy and a desire to see that wellness in the person, because the body language speaks a million times louder than your words. And even if you do not have lots of technique, just sit with somebody and say, I understand what you're going through. I know what you're going through. It's okay. And that's enough for them to know that you are accepting them as they are and you are not judging them and you are with them. Probably that's the best medicine. And I could see that happening, and I had a wonderful time working in Pathway Onihonga with some of the staff and the people. I didn't work for long. It was just my practical training session, but it was amazing to see that how these things really transform. You can see that happening, in the eyes of that person, and a very amazing thing happened, like if I may share one of the story, without naming a person, um, the person came in, was mentally unwell, seriously unwell, on very strong medications. The parents came to with that patient and said the person, as usual, was in the hospital, and after a few days, the hospital will release them, but they are not fit to go back home. So the respite centers would, have them for a couple of days. And the person refused to eat. Person refused to have medicines and would not do even eye contact and will not even talk to people. None of the staff, nothing. And everybody was amazed. What to do about room number 6? The person is not even talking, not even doing. And I happen to be always in the morning shift. And the manager, she really liked my work. And then she would say, Manoj, you have. And I said, look, I have a genuine empathy, I have a genuine care with no absolute self interest. I'm not doing this for the job, for the salary, for the money, because I want to see the change. And there were a couple of visits I made to the person, and I just stood there and I said, oh, I understand you don't feel like eating. I do understand you don't even feel like looking up and talking to me. I said, that's okay. Perfectly okay, but I'm here for you. I will come and see you every half an hour, and you tell me if you need something. And I said, you have a right to get angry on me. You can even tell me to get out. That's fine, but I'll come every half an hour and ask you, do you need something? Any fruit you want to eat, water, anything you need. And I went there. After my fourth or the fifth visit, the person looked at me and he said, I will eat and have medicine only from you. And I'll tell you, I felt so wonderful. Not wonderful because I've achieved something, but I proved myself a point that if you genuinely care for somebody's wellness, the vibration, the body language will work. And recovery is guaranteed to the person if he wants it to be recovered, and there's a person who's helping him to recover. He would definitely recover. So those were wonderful, amazing, experiences, and I enjoyed my sessions there. Yeah, so that's me, Manoj.
Amazing, amazing, Manoj. I love that she and I listen and I hear your words and I think about all the experience that you have had. But I'm going to ask you a question. So, thinking about what you first said right at the start, you're a young person from Gujarat, and your dad says to you, education is important, and you reflect back on everything that you have done. Would you say that the words of your father have really, were with the fuel that it opened up all these opportunities for you around the world.
Uh, you know, the saying of your parent is like something you cannot debate on.
Mm,
That's probably people of my time will be able to, a lot of people or Asians will be able to relate to that. So initially, you are doing it more because you're pleasing your parents and because your
mm,
parents told you to do it. And
yes.
gradually, you understand that knowledge is power. Knowledge gives you the access of, so many avenues, to move out, to do things. And then with that understanding at a gradual later level, you moved with your own self passion. But initially, for the 75%, you're doing it because somebody wants you to do it,
Yeah, and
or
I
it
asked
would
that
make them happy.
100%. I asked that question because a lot of people, when you're young, when you are 15, 16, 17, your parents are looking for the best for you in most cases. And I say most cases because we know some cases that is not true. And I think about you when in my life as well. I come from a Southeast Asian family as well, and my parents would be like, we suggest you should do this, and the whole doctor, lawyer, engineer. But my parents didn't really care what we did. But the one thing they did say was, you need to get educated because education is important because it opens up opportunities for you. You might not see that today, but
Yeah,
like you said before, over time you realize, oh, I can see the seed was planted and the tree that grew might not be the tree of the seed that was planted, but there was something that grew. So
exactly.
I love the adventures that you have had. And I'm really curious, Manoj, and I really love this here because you, as you shared in your beautiful, beautiful, beautiful opening there, you have shifted from numbers, the world of numbers and balance sheets to the world of human balance sheets. And I ask this question because coming from a Southeast Asian background, the world of mental health is very taboo in Southeast Asian cultures. And I speak of this from my own experience where one of my family members um, has got a mental health condition and when his parents heard about it, they didn't believe it because they're like, no, it doesn't happen in Indian culture. It doesn't happen in South Asian cultures. It's not a thing. Um, they're just being lazy or it's drugs, alcohol, but it's actually, I'd love to know how putting on your lens, I know you are super multicultural, but putting on the lens of where you come from, how do you navigate that in a world where so much cultural walls block you from seeing that actually, hey, we'll go through this. We just need, like you said, someone to be there for you and listen.
I didn't exactly catch your question.
Yeah, so the question, I guess, is, in Southeast Asian cultures, the idea of a mental health condition is a taboo
Taboo.
topic. It's a
Taboo.
taboo
Yeah.
topic. And someone who's Southeast Asian, who's had an amazing life, how do you navigate with that in the communities you work in when you tell people, hey, I'm not working in the mental health space? And I say that because of that big taboo around that space thing.
The taboo thing is still there.
Yeah.
Probably not much in our western part, but one of my relative currently is undergoing, a little of mental issue because of drug use, but he doesn't have the guts to come out and tell the world, that I have this mental issue. Anybody with a little mental issue, I still remember, mental issues was something connected to evilness or, black spirits and all that. And if anybody acting a little different, people would say, oh my God, you can't show them, you can't let anybody else know. So that taboo probably is more when we talk about Asia and those countries. But with the rising, excuse me, with the rise in education, that thing is going off. Courtesy to our internet, courtesy to all these, medias, WhatsApp and you have Facebook and all that. People are getting aware about it and getting bolder to stand out and say, uh, now, with the society changing from macro to micro, people have lots of independence, people have lots of guts to believe that. So probably that's shrinking, but that is very much in the air, that mental health is associated with some kind of bad thing, which should not come out, should not be said, I would probably say, hey, I've got a little sore throat. And I would probably tell you so easy, yeah, I've got a little sore throat. Or people would say, oh, I just went on for a kidney. Oh, I went for this dialysis, or I went, oh, I got cancer. Oh, and some people take a, like, my relative has got cancer. You would not even hesitate, then. But if you have to say something, saying, hey, my wife, she is having this mental issue and she's undergoing that, probably you'll think twice. So that taboo probably will still linger on for quite some time, but this education, knowledge, awareness, understanding that it has nothing to do, it's a chemical imbalance. It is a trauma with the person had. And these are the after effects of trauma. This is the, and it could be my genes, which has done the chemical imbalances. And because of that, I've got ADHD. I've got nothing to do. I'm a perfect creation. Or I would say, hey, I happen to have a trauma. But with understanding, with education, people can understand this,
Mhm.
that it's absolutely okay to have this problem because of your social upbringing. You have been subject to some trauma. Your genes have been, emitting some kind of chemical imbalances, and because of that, you're having this some kind of a chemical deficiency is created like that. The more education comes in, the more awareness comes in, the more will people will be accepting it.
And I love that because I think it's important for our listeners and also for the world to hear that education is important, but also some parts of the world require a bit more. And I love how you shared your example of you and your patient in room 6 who just needed someone just to be there every half an hour. And sometimes that's all we need in our life, just someone to be there for us, just to be there with no ulterior motive, just to be there, as you said,
Exactly.
wholeheartedly.
I think it was the unconditional act of mine wherein the person could see that this person has got no benefit in doing it, but he's still doing it and still caring for me and not judging me. And that's where, the connection starts building. It's all about
100%.
connection.
100%. And I guess also, the other word is your actions and your words are matching. You said
Oh,
you'd be there
exactly.
every half an hour. If you didn't, different
Yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah. Pritesh, I would tell you that, a kid of 1 year old can read a body language and say, that's a kid of 1 year can read a body language and understand. Maybe they may not understand words, but they can understand that this person is meaning this. When a kid is there and somebody, wants to hold him, the kid will be looking and would go to a particular person. Because it can see the vibrations are there. The body can never lie. The
Yes.
words can lie. The
Yes.
expressions can never lie. Never
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah.
They will never lie. So, if you want to be really effective um, in your mental health as a worker or in your normal life, be genuine and let your words and your body language be the same. Positive, compound effect of positivity comes out.
I think that's really powerful. I think a lot of us don't do that. Our words and actions don't match. But the minute that happens, it just because then there's no layers of deception to yourself. It's not about the rest, it's about yourself. When you deceive someone else, you're actually deceiving yourself because your words are saying something, you're thinking something else, your actions are doing something else. So I love the way you have said that. Make everything match. And hey, it's probably comes really, really well. I love that so much. But also, I also love just before we started recording, you shared some really beautiful things that in part of your other parts of the world. One of the big things for you is connection with people, connection with humans, connection, and this is a fantastic connection right now. Do you think this is something you've learned over time, or do you think it's innate? And I ask this because lots of people in the world right now feel alone. But I'd love your thoughts about how connection can be built, or whether it's something that you're born with.
I don't know about you're born with what.
Yeah.
But even if I'm born with whatever I'm born with, my thoughts are all based on the conditioning I had, my society's conditioning to me, my parents conditioning to me, the school conditioning me, my friends conditioning me, my education, my genes. So probably whatever you're born with, it is the impact of all these factors, would make you what you are.
Yeah, and I asked the question because I think it's really important for us to hear that, yeah, you're born with things, but you can also learn and you can also change. As you have said in your life, you've changed multiple times into some pretty cool things. I'm sure if someone said to you when you were Gujarat, when you were a young boy, that, hey, one day you will be in Dar es Salaam, what would you have said to them at that point in time?
Yeah, that would be probably, you would not be able to relate to that.
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah, I agree completely. So I somehow cannot relate to what are you born with, but I believe that it is what you cultivate, create, and what you are, because you do not have the free will for everything on your own. Like you don't choose your parents, right? You
Hmm.
don't choose your religion. You don't choose the country where you want to be born. You don't choose whether you want to born in a slum area or you want to be born in Beverly Hills, right? So there are a lot of factors. You don't choose whether you want to be born a male or a female, right? So the most important factors in my life, I had no control in deciding them. So a lot of things, happen because they're supposed to happen, and whatever uh, it is basically my attitude towards it, my mindset, which makes all the difference. Because I don't control the results. Whatever I do, I don't control the results. I've absolutely, like, if I have to go tomorrow for my Art of Living center there, I cannot say 100% guarantee that I will reach there.
Hmm.
Right. A lot of things might happen. A tree falls down and the road is blocked. Weather is so crazy, I don't go out, or my car doesn't work. So I don't have the control over the result of anything what I do, no matter how smart I am, whether I'm a billionaire. I don't control the result. So here comes the big issue or the big learning which I have is that you have the free will of choice of action, but you do not have the control over the result. So my smartness lies in my mindset, my attitude to accept the outcome and work to improve it if I don't like it. But my acceptance of my outcome should be my first response. And that too works in my mental health thing. If I'm having some kind of a problem, instead of me complaining and shouting and going there, I would first of all say to myself and to the world at large, I have a problem. And then you work towards improving it. So the acceptance of the problem itself mitigates, it takes away the power from the problem to harass you because you're no longer fighting with the problem. You've taken away all the power from the problem because you have accepted it. So the power has got nothing to fight with you now. Makes sense?
Makes total sense. It makes total sense. It
I hope.
it's a reminder to me that, it's the response, not the reaction. And a lot of us live in a world of reaction as opposed to responding,
Oh,
So
wonderful. You put it in so nice words.
no,
That's right. Yeah, you
and
put it in better words.
it's a great reminder. But also another reminder is, like I shared with you before, I also subscribe or I listen to Guruji and his sayings. And one of these things that I really love, and it's shifted the way I've thought my whole world, is have no expectations and you can have no disappointments. And when I think about them, I'm like, wow, this is so simple, but it's so hard to do.
Hard to do. Yeah, yeah. Guruji comes out with some, not because I'm not referring to Guruji as some kind of a spiritual thought process of knowledge, but these are a few wise wisdom words, like do not be a football of people's opinion, opposite values are complementary, accept people and situations as they are, be in the present moment. These are amazing things, but probably I realized it more, not because I heard it, but because I went through the
Mhm.
problems, like probably till my age of 47, I have been struggling. Things have not been working. I've been, on the faces, maybe I might be having a good position, financially. But if you look at it mentally, I have been struggling, coping up with all these strange things, But a quest, a thirst has always been in me to go into the unknown, to do things, which are a little uncomfortable, and they will teach you a lesson. That will teach you something. And I've been so fortunate, because as I said, we are a product of our surroundings, our environment, and I had the beautiful combination of my mother and my father. My father was an angry man, a man, rigid man, and my mother was a housewife, not educated, very wise. And when my father used to get angry on some of the employees, my mother would call me, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Look at your dad. Do you see the words coming out of his mouth? They are so harsh. All the relation he had with that guy, he has spoiled it up with just one harsh words. So the words once out of your mouth cannot come back. They are there. There's a permanent damage. And all you can remember today is, oh, this person told me this. The words linger around in your head for your whole life. So yeah, so we learn because of our environment, our surroundings.
Yeah, and it's so again, it's so powerful, but also it's just a reminder, like you said before, the words that come out of your mouth affect, but also your thoughts affect. And if you respond rather than react and realize that, like you said just before, you can't control the results.
Yeah,
You might have an intention for results,
yeah,
but the reality of result is so different. And we have a lot of us live in the world where we can think we can control other people's reactions, but we cannot. We have zero control. And I give an example. When I sent you the email to connect to come on here, I have no idea whether you'll say yes or no. I have no idea. I have no idea. And when I started the podcast earlier on, I would get disappointed if someone said no. But then I realized actually nobody has there's yes is not a promise to me. Like why would they want to say yes? I don't have to do that. Then it just shifted my whole perspective. Actually, I can just ask people if they say yes, amazing. If they say no, that's okay. But I have to go through the learning. You have to go
I,
through the
I,
learning.
I happened to meet a person, while I was working in Saudi Arabia. His name was Vijay Nambiar, a wonderful person, and he had said something to me 30 years back, and it has stuck in my head. It has stuck in my head. And he used to say me this is, if you're comfortable with yourself, and if you're comfortable with the other person, if you're comfortable with the other person, if you're comfortable with yourself, you will have a lot of clarity and peace to work. And I said, it's so profound, that if I'm comfortable with the other person, no matter how he behaves, whether he accepts my invitation or not, I'm comfortable with him. And I will not be comfortable if I have a conflict. If I have a conflict, I have disturbed mind set, and I am somehow not balanced emotionally. And if I'm comfortable with myself, means I accept myself as I am with all the flaws. And yeah, so these are the wonderful part of traveling around the world. You meet so wonderful people.
Yeah, it's so good. And talk about meeting people. I'm going to shift from traveling around the world to traveling to MIT as a 69-year-old going into class with 16-year-olds or 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
What was the journey like for you? As you said before, it was thoroughly enjoying. But I would love to know, in as you put that application submit and you went to your first class, how did you feel as you were probably the oldest person in the class? Not that age has a number, but when you walked in and your lecturer's probably like, oh, we weren't expecting to see someone of your age. Or maybe they were. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Initially, like I I'm good in my studies, and I stood second in my inter chartered accountancy examination in Gujarat. So I had this concept in my head that, and once Prajesh, this happens, it's kind of a catch 22. If by fluke or by your hard work, you get an achievement, you get a very good mark, and then you form a love with that study and you want that feeling again. It's like you want to get that high again. You might be on some drug and you had it once, and now you want to have that high again. So it's something like that. So having done good in my studies once, I always am inclined academically to do. Today I've got a real desire to go back uh, to do my bachelor's and probably do my PhD in one of the subject. I might be crazy. I might sound really crazy to the whole world. But that's kind of a love you always form with if you love to study, and I love to study. So once I was retired for 2 years, I did not much. Just I happened to work for charity organizations. I work for Vipassana, which is there. I've done 7 different courses of 10 days each. And I go there and I serve those people, and there's an amazing joy, very good feeling, working for company, mostly the Japanese or the Chinese or those people, the troops come here and for the Vipassana training. Have you been exposed a little to Vipassana? Oh, you
Yes,
must be wonderful.
yes, yes, yes.
Wonderful. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I missed the point what I was talking. Sometimes I can really get lost. Okay. Anyway, so I went back to the college. So okay, yeah. So that's it. I was in my retirement period, just doing all these works. And one fine day, I tell my son and my wife, "Hey, I want to go back to the college." He said, "Are you crazy? You cannot." I said, "Why you cannot?" Prajesh, I have not given the power to the world to judge me. I've literally, taken the battery out of the remote of everybody who holds in their hand. So no matter they press red button or green button, I mean it. I'm not just saying for this podcast, but I've lived it. So because I have not given the power to the world to judge me, I have the freedom to live the way I want. It took me a long time, to take away the power from the world to judge me or to take their batteries out, for each and every person who holds a remote, to say something and make me happy, say something and make me sad. And I've gone through it. I have been through that. There was an occasion where I was in Sea Rock or some hotel in Bombay. We were at office Sheraton or somewhere there. I was there, and I was the MC, and I was holding and managing all that, and I was speaking something, and everybody came and said, "Hey, Manoj, you spoke very well." Because I love being a Toastmasters, and I love talking, and I love this a little passion. So yeah, most of the people, everybody said yes. There was one person who came and said, "Ah, one person, one person, ah." He said something not too good. I don't exactly remember. And can you believe me? For a couple of days, all I could remember is not the 24 people who spoke good, but there's one person who spoke something which I did not like.
Mhm.
So this is the power of the judgment. So going back to MIT to study, I was pretty cool. I was a little relaxed because I have suffered so much because of this, being in the influence of what this guy is going to think, and then people saying. So those trauma moments have been so much that they somehow teach you, and because of that you somehow through your vipassanas and those 10 hours of meditations and going through the whole thing again and again and again and again and doing it for 10 days, 10 hours, the junk comes out. And then the real understanding little comes on the surface. So it was pretty okay for me to go there and learn that the beauty was the people there, the students there. And the teachers, they are amazed. Amazing, amazing. I was a little skeptical the first 1 week, little hesitant when I entered the class, you know, going over there, all those 19 and 20 and 21-year-old students around me. I was a little hesitant, not because they're judging me, but I was feeling a little odd, being with them. But the way they accepted, it's amazing. I was able to somehow go through. And even today, I start texting some of the students and the teachers, and they talk so nice to me. And I talk, I'm so fortunate in that journey.
And what's so beautiful there is, at the end of the day, we're all humans living a human experience. And as you said before, we all come. We have this judgment thing that happens, but I love your analogy of just taking the remote control out of the judgment button because people are going to press the button all the time.
Oh, yeah, yeah, they're going to press the button anytime. But why I'm saying that it is because, I have realized the importance of stories in our life.
Mhm.
Stories have got an amazing power, like you can tell somebody, hey, don't do like this. And then you say, this person did this and this happened. And it just fell on the right hand side. And you name the place, you name the person, now you are making it so profound.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so it all has an amazing impact.
Yeah, and I think, I in my learning as well, I have learned about one of the things I say in my sessions when I'm teaching and in my seminars is that people are going to have opinions no matter what,
Oh,
all the
yeah,
time, all the time.
all the time.
And the minute you accept that, it frees you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wonderful. My way of saying is that you're taking away the power from them.
Yeah, that's right.
Your
That's
acceptance
right.
has taken away the power from them to shake your emotions.
Yeah, which goes back to what you said right before. Like the minute you have acceptance, then it
Perfect.
it,
Oh,
it dissipates
amazing.
dissipates the power,
Amazing.
dissipates the power, which I really, really love. I also want to, I know we've been speaking for almost an hour, and I'm sure we can keep talking for hours and hours and
I
hours.
don't believe this. Oh my God, the time flies.
Time flies, yeah. But I'm also curious on as you think about yourself now, where you are, and you think about the work that you're doing in the mental health space, what are some of the really beautiful synergies that you can see for yourself as you move forward and think about living and working in New Zealand in terms of, we have high mental health, suicide, and all those negative stats, but I love to see the positive of the work that you do and what you see in the world.
A little difficult in the sense like the difference what I find. I really, I am not very clear about, like what you're asking me. Can you
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, no worries, no worries. We when people think about mental health, it's always the negative stats. But
yeah.
now that you are in the other side, I'd love for you to share the beauty of working in this space here. You shared some
Oh,
examples, but the
oh,
beauty that you're not all doom and gloom. There's also the light.
oh, lovely, lovely. See, basically, eventually, when you go through so tough ups and downs and work in 8 countries, and you've been spending couple of years in all and struggle there, you realize that the importance of human being. Realize that nothing matters other than people. Nothing matters other than people. So the when you have a person and when you care for a person and you see the person recovering, or you see a little happiness in the person, the joy is completely different. And that's so because New Zealand is the only country where I started working in my mental health profession, right? In all the other countries I have been working it, counting numbers, counting somebody else's cash. So the feeling where I had there could have led to a higher bank balance, no issues. But here, when you see when you work with people and you see that there's a little transformation, there's a little of happiness, there's a little recovery, or you're making change in people's life. The joy is so pure, it's so unique, and probably you can see that it's much more in value to yourself than the other joys, feel good factor, you're proud of yourself, other around you are happy that you're making the changes. So you're on altogether a different level. I think, did that answer your question?
Oh,
Or
100%,
okay,
100%, 100%, 100%.
okay.
And it's just a great reminder as well that age is just a number and the learning process keeps on going. But also, as you said before, you have a choice of um increasing the bank balance financially or increasing the bank balance of your life. And sometimes we forget about the bank balance of life, which at the end of the day is what we have. And I love the way you beautifully put that there, that you have the choice, and understanding it for yourself has been really beautiful. But also then you can give the connection to the world.
It's
Beautiful,
amazing. It's amazing.
beautiful.
It, it, it's such a joy, to work for people. I think people could realize that unless you're on the other side of the bank, you will not realize, how important. Unless you have stayed hungry for some time, you would not know the importance of food, right?
Mm.
Um, so unless you have seen it, because I find here people so, like in my class also. I'm not saying something in a negative side, but I would find people talking about, because I had a very close relationship with almost all the people in the class, and they would look at me, with a lot of closeness, and they say, "Hey, Manoj, in my office this and this happened," and they would talk to me, like, and because I am a person who like to talk to people, I encourage people to talk, I believe I'm a people person, and I could see that, that people basically uh, need that socializing, need that connection, need to see things in a little different way. Some of them would have so much money with them, and they would still be so much worried about a small thing which has happened to them, the importance they give. But they would not have given that importance, not that importance, had they been in kind of a journey where I had been. If they would have seen with Chetan Shah in Saudi Arabia, who came there to work as a office clerk, and his passport is taken away and is told to handle the cattle and is put into the desert. If they would have seen the khadima, is in like in Kuwait they call khadima the servants, that they take the akama away from the khadima, the passport away khadima, so she cannot leave Kuwait, and she has to work for 12 hours, and she hasn't received salary for the last 6 months. She can't go to the cops, and she has to eat whatever leftover they give her, and she cannot do anything. The cops would not listen to them. There's no press, there's no freedom. If you have seen that situation, probably many of the problems which people here face would mean nothing to them. They have got no importance, because they have seen things and pain in a little higher magnitude than what they are. But because people have been privileged to have so many things they are taken for granted, that even a small thing becomes so big for them, and they complain. So this is where I see that the joy of traveling, the joy of meeting people, the joy of being with different cultures, the joy of exposing yourself, out to this world, that you understand and see the things in a little right perspective.
I really like that, but also it also reminds me more of a saying that I really think is really powerful. The hardest thing you've faced is the hardest thing you've faced. And that when I heard that, it really blew
Uh-huh.
my mind because, like you said, yes, somebody's passport might have been taken, which would have been the hardest thing. But for someone who has never had that, if their car broke down, is the hardest thing. If for them, it's the hardest thing.
Yeah,
And the hardest thing that has happened to you, the hardest, when I heard that as well, that away took away all the comparison. Because we live in a world of comparison and judgment. But if you just,
exactly.
again, if we just say this and go, hey, Manoj, the hardest thing you have felt is the hardest thing you have ever felt. Straight away you go, I don't have to worry about what British's heart is or what Manoj's heart is or what, because that is so true. So, it's all perspective. But again, it's a learning, right? It's a learning. It doesn't happen, and it's also an acceptance. If you accept that, then it's beautiful. So I really love your perspective there on how when you can see a different when you can see the world in different people's eyes, it changes the way you see the world. But it doesn't validate if you haven't seen that there because
You
you know
haven't gone
we
through.
I love
So
it.
true.
I love it.
So true.
Manoj, I mean, you speak about the fact that you enjoy with people, working with people. We've just connected for the very first time, and your energy is so beautiful. It's so easy to
Yes,
talk to you.
I
It's
feel
so
so
lovely.
glad, so wonderful talking to you.
No, it's
Prajesh, it's been
amazing.
my pleasure.
It's amazing. We're not yet done, though. We're not yet done. We have one last question that we ask every
Uh-huh.
single guest on our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Our podcast, as you know, is called Baskets of Knowledge. And
Mm-hmm.
every episode, we invite our guests to share one piece of knowledge to put into our basket. You have shared so much today, but is there
Oh, gee.
one piece of knowledge that you'd like to share with our listeners?
But one thing I would like to share with people is that you cannot change what's the outcomes or the happenings around, but you can change your mindset. You can change your attitude, the way you look at it. And I'm quoting you this with a very first-hand learning. My mother, I remember as a child, she cut herself and she was bleeding and the blood wouldn't stop. My dad came running, and she said, "Oh my God, I'm so lucky. I didn't cut my finger. It's just a little bruise. I could have chopped up my finger." The moment she said that, she was comparing four fingers with the with she was comparing uh, how do I put it? Oh, she was saying that, look, I'm so lucky I didn't chop the whole finger. I just got a little cut. And the pain all of a sudden became so small, right?
Mm.
We were playing tennis, in my backyard. Badminton, I remember. And my mom slipped. So they took her to the hospital and she had a little sprain in her leg. And she immediately said, and she could not walk she said, "I'm so lucky. I didn't break my hip. It's just a sprain. It's going to get well in a week. But I'm so lucky and fortunate." Oh my God, God is so kind. If I have this attitude to look at everything what's happening around me, probably this is my knowledge in the basket. If I meet with a little accident, I would say, "Oh my God, I'm so lucky. I didn't kill the other guy or he didn't hurt me. Look, nothing happened to me. It's just a little scratch, just bump. It cost me but then, yes, it cost you $5,000 or your insurance change. But you compare your pain with a little higher pain and your current pain becomes less."
I love that. I
My
love
take.
that. I love that learning that you can't control the result, but you can control your mindset about the
Mindset.
situation. Beautiful. Manoj, it's been a real absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. You've shared some amazing, absolutely many times wisdom.
My
And
job.
I think we can keep talking. And I know we could keep recording forever, but it is a Friday evening, and I'm sure we can get you back on the podcast.
Whenever.
Any last words before we close out this evening?
Oh, my last word is you are doing such an amazing work. What you are doing is that when people have been hiding their gold and silvers inside their house, and you are letting them share that with the world at large. What could be a more noble deed than sharing people's heart? Like, if you take talk, like, I would like to say, it took me 55 years to come to this understanding. And today I would say that, yes, I am a very happy person. I can probably have a outcome which I don't like. It would disturb me for 5 minutes, 8 minutes, and then I have a technique to come back and be almost normal by saying, "Oh my God, I'm so fortunate. I just lost $5,000. Imagine, I could have lost $50,000. Oh my God, I'm lucky now. I have to go be careful." And I can probably come out with so many things. So my last words are that you are doing such an amazing job helping people, get their emotions balanced
Amazing. No, thank you so much. Thank you
and
for sharing
achieve their
that.
goals. Basically, people would like to come up in their life as a coach, you want them to achieve their goals. So it could be their personal goal, wellness goal, financial goals, relationship goals, and you help people to come out for them. Amazing. Thank you very much.
No, it's only because of people like you. Without people like you, this doesn't happen. So thank you so much.
Thanks a
So
lot.
listeners out there, thank you for listening. And if you fell asleep, go back and listen again because there are a lot of gems in here.
Uh,
Thank you so much for coming onto our podcast, Manoj. And if people want to connect with you and want to talk to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
my email address is always there. Normally, how do people connect? I've
Yeah,
not.
yeah. So we can. What I'll do is I'll share your LinkedIn page, and you can find Manoj on LinkedIn,
Oh
and then that's
yeah,
the
I'm
easiest way to
always
do
there on
it.
LinkedIn page, and I
Yes,
love
LinkedIn.
your posting. Like a couple of days back. I hope you're not getting late. Can I
No,
put
no,
in a one
you
point?
can you
Okay,
can
a
say
couple of days, maybe yesterday only. You put a beautiful posting, and that was something to do about the dots,
yes.
about those small things. And the moment you put that, I remember that Stanford speech by
Steve
uh,
Jobs.
Steve Jobs, where it said, connect the dots.
Mhm.
You cannot connect them moving forward, but if you can know them moving back. So those small things, what we do, have got so much importance in our life. And those are the building blocks, where we end up constructing huge structures that helps us go. That was amazing, amazing. I'm
Oh,
so
thank you.
glad, I read that, and you reminded me, that Steve, the book, I read one of our book,
Yeah.
uh,
Anyway, it's a reminder the small things make the biggest impact, but you don't
that
realize
is
it in the
so
in the
profound.
moment.
That is.
In the
Thank you
moment.
very much for sharing
N-
that.
No worries, Manoj. So please connect with Manoj on LinkedIn. He's as you can tell, he's an amazing human as a resource. Till next time, everyone, don't forget to find a reason to smile. Don't
Yeah.
forget to put something in your basket of knowledge. And as Manoj has said today, don't forget that you can't control the results, but you can control the mindset. Till next time, talk it, everybody. Stay safe. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Baskets of Knowledge.
Yeah, we hope that you found something useful to put into your basket of knowledge. And as we said before, remember to put something little into your baskets of knowledge every week. And as always, feel free to like, comment, and share this podcast. Thanks, everybody. Bye.